Stafford Canyon in Tillamook State Forest is a favorite of local canyoneers. It has about 10 waterfalls that you can rappel. On rappel here is Sam. He's working his way down a waterfall that's somewhere in the middle of that group of 10 that I mentioned. Back up top, this is Scott. He's a ICO Pro Level 3 certified canyoneer. He's confident in his skill set and usually dives right into the most difficult line. So this is what it's like to be Scott in a waterfall. One of the rules of canyoneering is beginners never leave beginners, so always make sure and go with somebody that's very experienced and knows exactly what they're doing. Next you'll see Scott at the bottom coming off rope. He looks up top and that's me working my way down. One of the main risks that you have to learn to manage in canyoneering is hydraulics. So I'm going to pick a less aggressive line coming down. One of the things that Scott taught us was to reduce our profile in the water, especially in the main channel.
Ooh, that's a big one.
How are you doing? Today we are going down Stafford Creek. We are in the Tillamook State Forest.
Before we started, Scott gave us a refresher course on the Munter Mule 8 and retrievable anchors. We then jumped onto the trail. I think I'll make a gear list of some essential items that you might want to take if you decide to go canyoneering. First is a wetsuit. I wear a 4.3 mil, which is great for canyoneering. I also wear a pair of knee pads on the outside of it. Here we are setting up the anchor for the next rappel. Notice the harnesses that the guys are wearing. For canyoneering, it's a good idea to have a harness with a PVC seat. It helps with a lot of the abrasion. Next, a rappel device. This one's called a critter. There's also others such as the Petzl Piranha, but something that allows you to change friction and lock out really well in canyons. All right, here I am working my way down this rappel. It was a fun one, a little bit of flow, not too much water. Made it safely to the bottom. Then looking back up top, here comes Sam working his way down. He's using a critter as well, as you can see. And next, this is Scott coming down. He'll make a faster time of it. He has better technique. At the bottom, there's always rope collection. This is a bag that allows you to pack your rope and manage how much rope you have out on rappel, because too much rope at the bottom of the rappel can be dangerous in moving water. Alright, as we work our way to the next waterfall, let's add locking carabiners to our gear list. You'll need a large one to attach your rappel device to, and you'll need a variety of others for setting up anchors and other rope work. You'll also need some 1-inch tubular webbing for setting up anchors. Alright, we're ready for this next rappel. Scott's going to lead the way, and he goes down with his normal expert approach to things. And he gets to the bottom with no problem at all. Next up is Sam. He's getting ready at the top.
Where it's going, in the flow.
The plan was to take center line in the flow, and he did exactly that. Not to be outdone, this is me getting a good lesson in hydraulics. This is probably a good place to add helmet to our list. Get a good caving or climbing helmet that's suitable for canyoneering. You can find a lot of information about this online. Next, let's add shoes to the list. I cannot tell you how important this is. There are shoes made specifically for canyoneering by 510 and La Sportiva. The only injuries we've ever had are from slipping on rocks, walking in the river in between the rappels. It's so important to have good shoes.
Oh, this is a good one. Whoa! So that's the pothole we got going. You want to be careful. That might be, I mean, it might be a hydraulic, it might not. It might be long enough is what you're saying.
This rappel is the famous Pete's pothole rappel. There's some great pictures online of a guy apparently named Pete that got sucked into this pothole, which you'll see in a minute. It is a bit of a hydraulic and it does catch you off guard. I go down on rappel first. You'll notice I'm wearing some gray shoes. They're actually fly fishing wading shoes, but they're just great as far as traction on wet rocks. Anyways, I managed to make it down safely without winding up in Pete's pothole. as you can see, I did get another minor lesson in hydraulics on the way down. Here I'm just about at the bottom and looking back up. Next coming down is Sam, and as you will see, he has fully embraced the concept of getting in the flow.
I'm in the flow!
He gives a cheesy grin, and then the gods of hydraulics give him a little reminder that they need their respect. Next up is Scott. He goes fully hydraulic as well, but it just seems to be his element. Add a rappel ring or similar device to your list. I'm reminded because we're now moving on to our next anchor. This one was actually a nice anchor, 2 bolts and a giant boulder. I'm not sure which of the 10 rappels this is, but I launched the drone because it was a beautiful waterfall. This is Sam going over. As you can see, the waterfall had some serious hydraulics, some serious flow. Sam handled it really well. I was able to see all of it from the drone and watched him come out at the bottom okay. Sam's going to work his way out of this pocket water at the bottom, and then he'll be done with the rappel. Scott's up next. Looking back up top now, here's Scott getting ready to drop in. You're going to see that he takes his backpack off. He wants it off to reduce his profile in the waterfall, and also because he's going to try a technique where he reverses his body and rappels with his back to the wall. It can be very effective sometimes. He had some water pressure to deal with for a minute, but because of his experience, he was easily able to get out of it and work his way down to the bottom. Scott works his way through the same pocket water, does his last little drop. Then he's ready to come off rope. He whistles, looks up top, and now it's my turn. I saw both those guys get spun sideways on their way down, so I'm going to go for the pop cowabunga move right here to avoid the problem. Worked for me. Alright, I'll work through this little pocket water here, and then we're on to the big rappel in the canyon. That's me dropping over right now. It's a really nice rappel. You can look over and see the waterfall, and it's a pretty straight shot down. I'll get down to the bottom here, glance over at the waterfall, then look back up to the top, and that's Sam coming down. Right as he got to the bottom, a big rock fell right next to him. That's why you wear helmets.
So far, you can't even see the rope or Scott. I slid on my knees, granny style, playing it safe.
Now Scott comes down. He did need to stop partway down and tie a tag line onto the rope bag so it would be long enough to pull through. We needed to do that because we used extra rope at the bottom for a fireman's buoy.
How are you feeling?
This is all puppy's breath to me. Right? I've had deep tissue massages that hurt more than this.
Okay, that's just the Advil talking. Alright, good time to add to our list a rope. A 200-foot 9mm is a good start. Make sure it's appropriate for canyons. That means dry treated and abrasion resistant. There's ropes specifically built just for canyoneering. Alright, Scott's down that fall already. He's, as always, in the flow again, safely down to the bottom. Looking back on top here, we got Sam getting ready to go. Sam's going to take the line right between the middle of these two and try to avoid the high flow on our left. I'm last man down, so I'm breaking down the non-essential parts of the anchor, so when I get to the bottom, I'll be able to pull the rope through. Looking over my shoulder, checking the lines, making sure I have good footing, getting rid. Actually, that bag had my drone in it. That's a different story. But getting rid of non-essential backpacks just so I don't get caught up in water. But as you see, I had a relatively easy landing. Now the fun begins. Scott lost his GoPro. Somehow on that last waterfall, or at the bottom of it, his GoPro ended up in the water. So we started looking for it. You might want to add to your gear list a pair of goggles. He had them with him, so he was able to look underwater for stuff. We didn't find it up top, so we were hoping it was down here at the bottom. So Scott wetsuited up, got the goggles on, and swam around in the pool at the bottom of the falls looking for the lost GoPro. Unbelievably, we find it. That cracked us up. That that GoPro would go tumbling over that waterfall, end up at the pool at the bottom, and that we actually found it. Me coming down what I think is our last set of falls. I think they call it Twin Falls. I get to the bottom. I think our gear list is complete, but there's a couple things you may add, like neoprene socks, gloves, dry bags, backpacks, those types of things. Here's our celebratory fist bump. It was a fun day, all good stuff. Thanks for watching, guys.